Welcome, welcome. You guys are in for a good one today. Um, yeah, I've been waiting to tell this story for years. I've been dreaming about this story for years. I've had fantasies about this story for years. I think Katie's been having fantasies about this story for
I've
years.
lost a lot of hair and made some gray hair due to this story.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, I've been so I've been just waiting. Like this is one of those like patient moments in life where you're just like, just be patient. Be patient. You guys have all heard the story of reputation over money, and you guys have heard the concept. You guys have heard me talk about that, and yeah, it wasn't just a good one-liner that I thought of, in my dreams. It was a story that came from my nightmares that turned out to be one of the greatest lessons that I think I I have ever had the opportunity to go through, and I just think that it's that story can be shared with you guys, and you guys don't have to have the scars to go with it, but you guys can get the lesson. And I think that's ultimately the coolest part about having friends, having peers, having coaches and mentors, having people who are willing to just share is that there is opportunities in life where you can actually learn without you getting the injuries, the arrows in your back, the scars, the the pain go with it. And ultimately, it's not about avoiding those things or only getting those things. It's going to be a combination of both. Like you're going to have to get some arrows in your back. You're going to have to get some scars. But if you the further that you can, the more that you can learn from others, the further you can go. But that doesn't escape you from not also getting some wounds along the way. So that's what we're going to share today. Obviously, we're going to get to the road to a million. It's going to tie into what's going on with Mesa and how we're growing this thing to a milli. But one of the reasons that I have so much confidence getting into a milli is because of where we came from. And so in 2023, we were at this in the backside of us getting out of I shouldn't say getting out of focusing our attention on cleaning business and away from real estate. So if you guys are brand new here, let me go a little bit further. So we started in the gym business in 2013, and we were able to eventually figure out how to get that gym business to make a little bit amount of money. It took me 3 years of making no money. I made $135,000 in 3 years, which is, by the way, if you guys don't do the math on that, it's less than $5,000 a month for 3 years. I was making less than $5,000 a month. Kayla, who's in here right now, in her first like 3 months or 6 months in business, she's already made $10,000 a month. She's made more money than I have already, right? And this is why this is important. This is why this is important. So you guys just have the frame to where this story is coming from. I made less than $5,000 a month for 3 years. And it wasn't until I found a business system that was proven it worked, that did not come from my brain, that I did not create, that somebody else had created and had predictably and had used in their businesses, 6 businesses to grow them, and then help other people grow them, that I finally got access to, that my business finally started to work. And so there's people in here like Jessica and Lucas who had a very similar story. Their business had been in business for 10 years, 10 years, and they had got to about $13,000 a month over 10 years. And then all of a sudden they use a business system that works, and now they're knocking on the door of $100,000 a month. They're almost doing more in a month than they did the entire year when they started getting access to this coaching system. Okay. Now, I think it's important to understand how those things happen, because those things don't happen on accident, they happen on purpose. And they happen because we have a predictable business system that has been proven it works. And the second variable, the biggest variable to that, is the person who's operating the business system. And so over those 3 years, when my gym sucked, I was learning. I would spend so much time learning. I would listen to podcasts, I would buy like little courses. Like I was consumed with trying to figure out how to get this business to work. And when I finally got access to a system that worked, and I was willing to put the work in, I went from doing $5,000 a month, not even, to doing $50,000 a month. And after I got access to the business system, I was still inconsistent. So I still had ups and downs because I didn't keep that $50,000 a month. I would go up and down, 30,000, 40,000, but it was much above 5,000, most importantly. But along the way, um, we were able to actually save some money because while my income went up, my spending stayed the same. I did not spend any more money. And the only way you can survive if you're making less than $5,000 a month in revenue, not profit, in revenue, is if you don't spend money. And so I just kept my habits of not spending money over those first 3 years. And when I actually started making just a little bit of money, my spending habits didn't go up. And so I was able to stack cash. And we were able to stack enough cash that we were able to start to buy real estate. And so at the time, in 2019, when we bought our first piece of real estate, which was now, what is this, 5 years, 6 years after I started the gym? So 6 years after I started the gym, now we actually had enough capital to be able to start buying real estate. Katie and I's plan for freedom was through real estate. We're like, we're just gonna buy as many rentals as possible, and we're gonna use the cash flow from that to pay for our lifestyle. And now we're gonna retire. We're gonna retire before we're 30 years old, right? So we started buying real estate in 2019. And yeah, we did it the conventional way. We just literally went to the bank. They said, put down 20% and get a loan, get qualified. If you guys ever got a loan from a bank, it is like, man, they want everything. They want everything. So some of you guys who came into Deck in a Day, to the group Deck in a Day, you guys did your basically your personal financial statement. That's really what it was, but we called it your financial goals and then your net worth. It's essentially your personal financial statement, which is what the bank asks for. And it was cool because one of the cleaning business owners who came out here, her husband's actually a principal at a school. And I was like, how many of you guys after school, did anyone ask for your report card? Has anyone in the business world ever asked you guys for your report card? What were your grades? What was your GPA? Maybe some of you guys joke about it, besides Tristan. Tristan was smart. He was a genius. But outside of that, everyone's like, oh yeah, I was a 2.0 student, right? Or something. But really, nobody cares. Nobody cares, right? But in the real world, your report card is your personal financial statement. What's your net worth? How many assets do you have? What's your cash? What are your debts? Right? Ooh, what are your debts? How much money do you owe to people? Right? And you put those on a sheet, and you're like, oh my God, I am poor. Yes, 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 right? And that's okay, because everybody starts out of being poor, right? It's not a shame to start out poor, but it's a shame to die poor. Because it's not that hard to get rich if you're willing to prioritize it, if you're willing to focus on it, if you're willing to make it a priority, right? And so that was Katie and I's goal. And so we bought a bunch of real estate, and then we quickly ran out of cash because, like I said, our business wasn't making that much money. So we ran out of cash. And we're like, how do we continue to buy more real estate? And so we ended up coming across this guy who said, you can buy real estate without your own money. And I was like, okay, let me hear what this is about. And I remember we were on a plane to Disney World, me and Katie and our 2 kids, and I needed a podcast for the plane that I listened to. And so I ended up downloading this podcast, and I listened to this guy who was just telling all these stories of buying money without money and also without the bank. I was like, man, if I could not buy money without the bank too, that would be freaking amazing too. And so I got off I got off the plane. I was just like so jazzed. Katie was probably like, I was probably talking her ear off about this guy. And so I go to like look him up on Instagram, and his name is Pace Morby. And I started to look through his stories. The freaking dude is at Disney World. Sorry, Disney World. We were in Florida. He's at Disney World. We're at Disney World. I'm like, this is freaking crazy. And so, of course, I message him. I'm like, hey, what's up? Right? I don't remember what I said. I could probably go back and look at it, but I said something to him. He didn't respond, and I was like, screw this guy. I'm gonna make him respond. And so we spent 3 days at Disney World, and we actually had a trip that we were going to go to Tony Robbins' event down in Katie, where was it? Where was that one at?
West Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach, right? So it's about it was like a 2-hour drive or something like that. And so we sent our kids back to Montana, which is where we were living at the time. And then Katie and I went to West Palm Beach, just the 2 of us. And we were going to a Tony Robbins event. And again, now this is at the end of 2021, I believe. And so like this was like his first live event since COVID. and there was like 10,000 people there. It was a crazy event. But regardless, we had a day in between Disney World and this Tony Robbins event, and I had signed up for a sales call for this Paces guy, his thing. I had no idea what it was. I was like, tell me what it's about. And so this guy, I'm on a sales call with Katie's in the room. I got it on speaker. We're in a hotel room in West Palm Beach, Florida, and this guy's telling me about this group called Sub 2, and I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And the price was around $8,000. I don't remember exactly what it was. Maybe it was a little bit less than $8,000. I was like, here, take my money. That sounds like a good deal to me. And then after that, my favorite question. This is my favorite question. What else do you got? So sign up for Sub 2. I was like, what else do you got? He's like, well, we actually have a mastermind that's coming up. I was like, when? He's like, well, it's coming up in like a couple weeks. I was like, what is the mastermind? He's like, well, you get like closer to Pace, and like it's like an intimate community setting. There's like 15 or 20 people there. And I was like, yeah, I want that. And he's like, well, usually we don't have new people who come right into the mastermind. And I was like, well, why? I was like, he's like, well, he didn't have a good reason. So I was like, okay, when is it? And it was in 2 weeks. And I was like, Katie, what do we got going on in 2 weeks? And we were gonna be in Arizona, which is where this mastermind was being held, because our oldest daughter had a swim meet down there. She had signed up for this swim meet down in Arizona, and I was like, sign us up. And so we spent another, I think that one was like $12,000 around there. So we signed up for that one, and then 2 weeks later, we were back on a plane down to Arizona for the first time. Never been down here before. And we're at this mastermind. We walked into the room, and turns out everybody in that room had a real estate business. And in the real estate business is either wholesaling or fix and flip. And so Kate and I looked around like, oh shit, maybe we are not in the right room. I was like, I didn't even know what wholesaling was, which is funny because Tristan is on here. He's done some wholesaling, and like just purely oblivious to this whole different world of real estate. And I felt kind of silly, but Pace noticed that we were a little bit out of place because we didn't have a wholesale business or a fix and flip business or a real estate business outside of just like owning rentals. And for some reason, I think he liked us. But Pace likes a lot of people, but really, I think he liked Katie. And then because Katie is cool, I got the association being around. I got the association of Katie. So we ended up forming a good relationship with Pace. And then so went into his community, became a leader inside the community, and started buying real estate. Because what I learned from Pace is that you could buy real estate without my own money, without using banks. But I was like, I could get loans because banks like me, right? Banks like me because I pay my debts. And I've consistently paid my debts over the course of years. And banks like that. So I'm lendable and I show income. That's another thing that sometimes with being a business owner, you don't show income, but we do show income. And so once I learned the strategy, I was like, Katie, I think we can buy a shitload of real estate. And she was like, okay. Because at the time, she's growing the cleaning business, mind you guys. We just started the cleaning business. She's growing the cleaning business. And I'm out there trying to like put deals together and trying to buy real estate. And so my strategy was really simple. I would go find people who had money, okay? And I would go find people who had deals over here. So money, deals. I would connect the two people, and I call myself the coach. I was the coach. I basically would marry the deal and the money together to make us a relationship, and I would be the one who basically coached the deal together, and I would get equity and I would be able to acquire more real estate by just basically finding money and finding the deal and putting them together. And so this was our strategy, and we ended up buying a good chunk of real estate in the state of New York, the state of Massachusetts, the state of Virginia, the state of Ohio. Where else did we, Katie, anywhere else?
That's all that's coming to mind.
Yeah, and then of course Arizona, and then our stuff in Montana as well. And so we started buying real estate, and then we were buying it pretty fast. And because we were doing it out of state, we weren't able to visit the property. We didn't have our same like systems and processes that we had used to buy our first little bit of real estate. And our due diligence wasn't as good. You guys are probably seeing where the story is going to go. But the biggest mistake that I actually made was our due diligence on the people we were partnering with. The biggest mistake I made was using a community as the filter and being like, hey, if they're inside this coaching community that I'm part of, they must be good. I called it the sub 2 filter. I was like, if they're in sub 2, they're good, right? Because that's my brain. Just like, I just believe people are good. I think it is what it is. I think it's a blessing, and sometimes it can hurt you. And so we started doing these deals, and yeah, the very first deal that started to go hairy was I had had this deal in Virginia, and we had raised $88,000. The lender's name was Julie, and the person who had the deal and was operating the deal was a guy in Virginia. I'm not going to say his name, but yeah. So basically, I got Julie, and I said, "Hey, Julie, we got a good deal here in Virginia, and we need $88,000. You be interested?" And she said, "Yeah, sure." And so she brought it in, and then the guy in Virginia, just the timelines kept getting pushed. Things just weren't going as planned. And then Julie was like, "Hey," and she was only lending money to us for like 6 months, and then we were going to basically do a refinance on this house and be able to get her out of there, and just gonna be me and this guy in Virginia. Well, the rehab itself wasn't going well, and everything kept getting pushed out. And Julie's like, "Hey, I'm looking for my money, looking for my money," and there was no money. And yeah, so that was the first time that I took $88,000 out of our bank account, and I just gave it to Julie. That guy in Virginia stopped communicating with us, stopped talking to us, said, "Yeah, I'll get you back, get you back, get you back, get you back." 2 years later, nothing back. I can live with that. It's only 88,000. It's fine. Only 88,000, guys, right? It's only 88,000. It's fine. No big deal. And then we had a deal in Ohio, similar situation. And that one was only 47,000. Maybe it was 48. I can't remember. Either 47 or 48. And same thing, our private money lender who lent us money, the guy who we lent money to was actually, ironically enough, it's Katie's health coach as of right now. That's who it is. So it was a friend of mine from Gym Launch, and person that we have a relationship with, and there was no money, so pulled another $47,000 or $48,000 out of our bank account and gave it back to him. So there we go. Now we're what, $130,000, $140,000. Not a big deal, right? It's okay. Like, we're okay. We're okay. And then just probably like a couple months later than that, we had bought this deal in Massachusetts, and it was probably one of the best deals I've seen on paper. I was like, wow, this is actually going to be a home run deal. The kid who found it, again, wasn't sub 2, and he was a wholesaler, and it was a fourplex, bought it for $625,000, and the cash flow on it was projected to be like $8,000 a month cash flow. It was going to make $13,000. Our nut was going to be, I think, about 5 or 6, and we are going to make about $8,000 on it. I was like, wow, this is like one of the best deals I've ever seen. And so I asked my buddy Trey. I was like, "Dude, I got a home run deal," and he's like, "I'm down." So he invested $165,000 on this deal, and we were in. And within the first couple weeks, we had 2 tenants who were living in there. 2 of them were vacant. We were just gonna do like a light rehab on this property, just like paint and like replacing outlet switches, covers, things like that. And so our boots on the ground partner in Massachusetts, he was orchestrating all this. That was his job, to be inside this, to stay inside the deal, was to be our boots on the ground, do all the things that were local, because Trey was in Florida and Katie and I are in Montana. And yeah, within the first 2 weeks, we had an electrician over there just replacing outlet covers. That's all I was doing, like just like making sure that all the outlets worked, and then replacing covers, making them new for new tenants. And yeah, he saw something he didn't like, didn't tell us, went to the city, and this property got condemned. So I'm not sure if you guys understand what the word condemned means, but
Inhabitable.
yeah, inhabitable. Like, it was insane. We had tenants living in there that we had to put in hotels, and now we had a property that was inhabitable. And that's how the story starts. So the electrical was the issue. We ended up getting a first quote that said that it was going to be about $50,000 to fix the electrical. So it's like, okay. So again, at this point, we didn't have any, like, we didn't have an extra $50,000 that we had allocated to this property. So both Trey and both Katie and I, we did what's called a capital call, where we invested $25,000 a piece into this property to basically pay for this expense that we were not expecting. And so we did that, and then the electrical guys got in there, started working, and then they realized that the problem was bigger. It was not just one floor, but it was all the floors. So they thought it was just like floors like 1 and 2 or something like that. I don't remember. This was a couple years ago. Katie, you might have more information on this than I do, but anyway, it became a bigger job, and so we needed more money. And then not just the electrical was the problem, as it turned out. What else was a problem, Katie?
Yeah, the city came in to sign off on the first floor, and they said plumbing is also a problem and out of date, and it all needs to be updated. Mind you, we had $0 in the bank account.
It was tough. It was tough. It was a full electrical and a full plumbing that we had no idea. Yeah. The hardest part was not the money. The hardest part was that Katie was pissed.
I had to manage contractors to say, hey, I need you to go work on this. I don't know when I'm going to get you paid. It's going to come, but I need you to go work on this.
And I was trying to figure out how to solve this problem. And this is where like my communication has gotten much better from the situation. And so I'm just so focused on how do I solve this problem that like everything was coming. I'm not getting razzled. I'm not listening to the problems. I'm just trying to find solutions. And like, this is where Katie was getting pissed at me. She's like, you don't even care. Like, you're just leaving this to me. I'm not like, you're not taking any ownership over this. And I'm just like, I'm trying to figure out how the fuck am I going with $200,000, of like extra money for this fucking property. And yeah, just trying to figure it out. And so I actually got the idea from one of our partners who was inside this deal, the person who had found the deal in Massachusetts. He was like, hey, like my bank says that they have like these 0% credit cards. They're like 18-month non-interest, or that you don't pay interest for 18 months. And so, okay, cool. And then so again, at this point, like he didn't have any money. And so while Trey and I and Katie, like we both put in $25,000 a piece, he didn't have any money to put in. So he was trying to figure out ways how he could contribute. And so he went and tried to apply for these credit cards. Well, didn't have money and didn't have credit either, apparently, because he got rejected. And so then Katie and I started applying for these credit cards. And one of the benefits of having all this real estate and having lots of businesses is that you have lots of LLCs, and these were all business lines of credit. Yeah, we ended up getting, I think, lucky to some degree in the fact that we have these businesses and we have LLCs. And so we just applied, and we ended up getting like 80, how much, Katie?
$90,000.
Yeah, about $90,000 in credit cards that we could use that money to pay for some of these expenses. And but that wasn't enough, obviously, because we're over 200,000. So like that was the first, like we got that, and I was like, okay, now we got to come up with the next little bit of money. And so one of the things I learned from Pace was how to raise money. As you guys can see, like I've been able to raise money. And so one of Katie's coaches, who we paid back, so this is the reason why it's so important to pay people back, referred us to one of his friends. And at the time, we didn't have a deal for him, but I was like, hey, I got something. And I just told him the truth. I just told him the story, the entire story, what happened. I was like, I understand if you wouldn't be interested, but like I could use 150 grand, and you'll get paid 12% interest, and you'll get paid. every month. But this is the property that you're gonna have your lien against. So just so you know. And he's like, I trust you. Yeah. And so he wired us 150 grand, and we used that money to just get to zero, basically, because that was just to get the property operating. We had to hold and by the way, this property, its holding costs are about $5,000 a month, and we didn't have tenants in there for an entire year. So we had to raise a little bit more money just to like hold this property until we actually could get everything fixed and then get tenants in there. And there was like some light rehab we had to do just to get tenants in there, because as you guys can imagine, if you replace plumbing, electrical, they're gonna be ripping things out of the walls and ceilings. And so like, I don't know, it was a disaster. So from August of 2023 to August 2024, some of you guys have been on this journey with us. Like this is what's happening in the background, is we're trying to figure out how to solve this problem. We get this, or no, so sorry, August 2022 to August 2023, right? Or is it 2023? It doesn't matter. 2020, August 2022 to August 2023, that's when it was. And so we finally get this property operating, and it's actually working. Again, like I told you, like the property was projected to do good numbers, and it actually did perform. I was like, oh, thank God. Like at least the only positive part of this property is it's actually performing. It's actually producing income that's paying for the bills, and now it's got to pay a little bit more bills. So now there's not as much cash flow, because now we have credit card bills and private money bills on top of the other bills that we had we had anticipated for. So at least it was paying itself. At least it was covering itself. Until our partner, who was boots on the ground in Massachusetts, decided to stop operating the property. And the only way we figured this out was looking at the bank account, and there was no money in there. We're like, what's going on? This property should be producing money. He's like, yeah, guys, sorry. It's too stressful. Can't do it anymore. So now we have to put more money in this property. So Kitty, about how much money we had to put after this property again?
I think it was like an additional 20,000.
We had to put an additional 20,000, and this just happened. This was like in like August or September, October, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 2024, we had to put an additional 20 grand in there because there's no money in the bank, because the property had not been operating. And now Katie is now the one who's having to operate this property from out of state, because this property is in Massachusetts, and trying to get it so it can produce money, so that way we can pay our bills and we don't have to continue to like dump our own cash into this property. And so Katie did it. She figured it out, and she used all of her resources and all of her skills and more. She had to grow. She had to learn, and she was able to operate this Massachusetts property without we'd never have stepped foot in Massachusetts, either of us. We've never even seen this property, and she was able to get it up and going, and find handyman and cleaners and electricians and like everything that you would need from somebody who's local. Like Katie just figured it out, right? And then what was it, March, I was like, Katie, let's just see how much this property would be worth now that we have got it so it's somewhat stable, but like let's just see how much it's gonna be worth, and then let's just plan on taking a loss on it. Let's just whatever is left, and like we'll take the hit and let's just move on, because like let's get out of this property. That way we can focus on growing our cleaning business, because that's where we believe our attention is best served. So Katie now started lining up lawyers, because in Massachusetts it's an attorney closing state, so we have an attorney to close, and we also have a partner who's non-responsive. So like we had to hire an attorney just to figure out if we can close without this partner. And then once we got that figured out, then Katie started looking for real estate agents. I think you probably, how many did you interview? 3 or 4?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we ended up going with this one guy, and yeah, like our plan was to just take an additional $100,000 hit on it, and we're like, let's just get out of this property. Don't care. And then we told him about getting this real estate agent. We just told him the story. We just told him the story of what was happening. It was like, we're just trying to get out of this property. He's like, why are you selling it? It's like everybody around that property, like there was something about that property that people liked. And we had no idea because we weren't there. I had no idea. I didn't care. I just wanted to get out of it. And he's like, I think we can list this for more. And so I was like, whatever, dude. I don't care. Just get rid of it. And so we wanted to list it for 900,000, and he ended up listing it for 1.1.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was like, there's no way. There's no way someone's going to buy this property for 1.1. Mind you, guys, we bought this for 625,000 back in 2022. I was like, there's no way someone's going to buy this for 1.1. This is silly. Within the first couple of days, we had 3 offers. I was like, who wants this property? And then all 3 offers fell off. I was like, okay, that's more like it. That's more like it. I knew this was going to happen. And then we listed it the next, and then we relisted it because we actually accepted. I think 2 of these offers ended up getting accepted, and then they pulled back, and so we had to relist it. And then the second week we got another offer, but it wasn't a full price offer. Those other ones were full price offers. This one, it was not a full price offer. And I was like, let's take it. I don't care. Let's take it. And then there was like a little bit of back and forth with the agent, and then yeah, we ended up getting it under contract for just over $1 million, and that property just closed 2 weeks ago. Okay, not last Friday, but the Friday before that.
Week and a half ago, yeah.
Yeah, it closed, which means that somebody actually bought that freaking property. And so I was looking at the financials of it, and yeah, and I have it pulled up so you guys can actually see this. I'll just show you guys the actual data if I can pull this up here. And we were projecting to lose a couple $100,000 when all was said and done. And yeah, so we ended up selling it for $1 million. We ended up netting $393,000 after you paid the first mortgage. And then we had a bank balance of $12,000 and an escrow check, which we found out afterwards. Actually, this was 19, wasn't it, Katie?
Yeah.
Yeah, 19,000. And then we had to pay Anthony 150 grand back. What was left on the credit cards was $78,000. Trey got his original money back at 165. We had somebody else we also owed money to in this whole thing, 6,000. An electrician who needed to get paid, and then we needed to get paid. And so after all was said and done, we actually only lost about $10,000. It was the biggest surprise in my life. Like we went down from being, you guys can see, at one point we were down over $220,000, crazy, to we only ended up losing $10,000. And Katie just cashed this check like right before this call. I think you just went to the bank. So it was one of those moments though that like as soon as this happened, as soon as we had to outlay this $230,000, my only goal, I had 2 goals. This is my biggest goal, is I just wanted to get Trey's money back. That was my biggest goal, number 1. And then number 2 was also to just have enough money to make sure that Anthony got paid back as well. And then we would take the rest of the credit card debt if worst case scenario happened. And so like when it comes to those 3 examples where we lost money on the Virginia property, we lost money on the Ohio property, and then we lost money on the Massachusetts property, to me, it was never worth it to risk my reputation to not pay those people back. And being on the other side of it as well, of not getting paid back from other people, it's just like, I would never want that over me. And so when you lose hundreds of thousands of dollars, the moment that you have a client who says, I'm not happy with my clean, and their invoice was $400, it's fine. It's on me. This clean's on me because we didn't do a good job. It becomes really easy. When a cleaner damages a glass shower door and it costs $2,000, it's on me. It's like, I'll make sure that moving forward that you don't have anything in your caddy that allows you to damage a glass shower door anymore. Right? That's on me. And so the reputation over money, it comes from that, but how it's applied to the cleaning business is like, there's nothing in the cleaning business that's going to cost $300,000. All these are going to be $500, $300, $200. They're these little things. Like the other day, someone asked me about a parking ticket. I'm just like, Again, like, so when you come from the frame of losing $300,000, like $60 is just like, just pay the bill. Like, don't even bring it to me. I don't even care. And I think that's the value. Like, just like always choose reputation. Just like do what's in the best interest of your people, clients, cleaners, employees. Do what's in the best interest of them, and they will continue to serve you, right? Because although we might have lost money in the $300,000, I promise you guys, like we have made millions of dollars because of that, because people trust us. People will give us their money because they know that we have a high probability of giving them return on their capital, but worst case scenario, we will return all of their capital. So, reputation or money. That's the game.
I think there's some things in there that I would like to highlight. So because of a private money loan that we did pay back, we had a good reputation with an individual. He referred his friend. Without that referral, we wouldn't have even had the opportunity to like limp this property along to get to zero to even start it. Same thing with this random $600,000 or $6,000 bill at the end when all was said and done, when the property was being managed by somebody else. This guy was like, hey, this other guy didn't pay me. Like, this is owed to me by this property. Can you guys pay me? And never once did we ever think like, no, we're not going to pay you back. Because you never know when you're going to need that relationship. You never know when you're going to need to have another ask in the future. You never know what the opportunity that person is ever going to provide for you. So like continue to serve people to the highest degree and it will come full circle back around.
And I think one of the biggest reasons why people do choose money over reputation is because they don't understand how to make more money. And so that is why this is important. This is why everyone in here building $1 million cleaning business is important, because how many of you guys already had $1 million cleaning business and just inherited it? How many of you guys just got your businesses given to you? Like, you guys did something that is, it might be normal for this room, it is unique for the world. Like, you took an idea and you created something. You created something that now does 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $100,000 a month in money that you created. Like, that's cool. And so that's why business is so valuable, is because it teaches you how to create. And so when you have the skill to create, then all of a sudden when you lose, it's okay because you know how to create it again. Now, sometimes it forces you to create it faster and create more of it, but you still have the ability to create. I think that's the most important part of the reputation over money. It becomes something that you can truly get behind when you know how to create more revenue. You have to create more money. And so let's talk about how to create just that. Like, how do we actually create more money, right? And I'm going to share my sheet with you guys here. And so how you learn how to create more money is by using data, right? And understanding what are the inputs required in order for me to grow my business. And so let's see here. So 64, so this is week 65. So for 65 straight weeks, Katie and I have showed you guys how we started Mesa 5-star cleaning with 0 clients, 0 revenue. And we have grown this thing to $640,000 in the last 12 months. Like $0 to $640,000 in 12 months. Like, that's a skill. Okay? And so how we did it, I'm going to skip a little bit of this because we don't have a lot of time today, but we did $14,000 last week, 151 recurring clients. We did 75 cleans last week, which is great. We had 14 cleaners who averaged 30 hours a week, which is great. We had 333 cleaning hours. So out of that 14,704 of revenue, 5,000 was new money and 9,000 was recurring. Books, we've collected 9,000 of that 14,000. 2,700 is outstanding with less than 7 days, and then 2,000 is outstanding greater than 7 days. We had some discounts. We filled up our internal marketing with lots of text messages, which is something that we're going to do this week as well. We sent lots of messages. We sent to think about it, cancel before first cleans, not converted yet, and occasionals. We hit all the lists last week, right? And we're going to do them all again this week. So one of the biggest ways that you guys can create more revenue in your business is to talk to people who are already inside your business. And so that's why Go High Level and having the opportunities is so valuable. Like, before we had go high level, our business was so unorganized. And now having pipelines and having specific stages and categories allows us to predictably be able to send a message to that list and to be able to get outcomes. And so the only way you can do that is if you have organization. And so what Go High Level provides is organization. And the pipelines is the next level of organization of like why these people are in specific categories. And then why they are in specific categories allows us to frame what the messaging is for them that increases the probability that we're going to get them to either book a new clean, book another clean, increase frequency, whatever it is that we want. Okay. So internal marketing, so important. Ad spend. We spent $2,000 last week on marketing. So we turned this up. We have to probably turn it up more because we need to fill cleaner schedules. Now we're getting cleaners again. Now we got to fill their schedules. So 800 was on Google, 1,200 was on Facebook. We got 43 Facebook leads, 12 missed calls, 15 Google local service leads, 12 homepage leads, 16 incoming call leads. So we got a total of 99 leads at $20 per lead, which is just fine. We had 17 spots that were unfilled last week. We have 79 spots open this week. That is crazy, right? 79 spots. We have lots of spots to fill this week. And one of the ways we're going to do it is we're going to increase our phone calls. So our phone calls have been pretty low. We're going to increase these. So 278 phone calls last week. Like next week, when you guys see this sheet, one person will have 278 phone calls, right? That's got to be the volume that's required in order for this thing to grow. 55 calls answered. That's awesome. 18 calls missed. That's awesome. We had 20 quote calls scheduled, 20 showed, 56 performed. We did an extra 36 calls performed, and we booked 35. 35 quotes were booked, $9,476. So a total of 5-to-1. So like right on the money. Okay. But look at this, only 2 conversions. So this has been a big problem. We haven't been converting people, which makes it tough to grow a business when you're just continuing to sell new cleans, but not converting people. And so this is an emphasis that we're going to talk about on our Mesa Vision meeting, which is right after this, which is why I'm on a time crunch right now, to figure out how do we solve this problem. But at the end of the day, the solution is just going to be attention. We just need someone's attention on it, someone focused on it, and someone to will it. Kind of like how you guys have all willed your businesses to get it to the revenue it's out. Like, did it happen on accident? Would it have happened if you guys would not have willed your businesses to where it's at right now? Exactly. So now that's on a macro level. Now we need to do that on a macro or on a micro level of each part of the business. We just need to give someone's job is it to be to will this portion of the business to where it needs to be in order for the whole thing to rise. Okay. Cleans last week, we did 75 cleans, which is actually pretty good. 19 cleans were new, 56 were recurring, 1 was discounted, 151 recurring clients. Again, that number's got to go up. Occasional clients is going up 148. We only had 2 conversions, so 10%. No bueno. Google reviews still coming in 8. Total of 509 Google reviews. So this is one of the reasons our recurring clients going down is that we are losing more clients than we are gaining. Hooray! And we lost $1,000 of recurring. We only gained $585. So it's tough to predictably grow your business if you're only relying on initial claims, right? Canceled cleans during the week, $2,600, $2,400 fell off. Lots of little cleans, but lots of things we had 3, looks like 4 were charged. Yeah, we've been having an issue with our automated messages. So this is something that we have updated. We updated our messaging for the automated messaging and also flip-flopped this. So inside ZenMaid specifically, so if you guys use ZenMaid, you guys might get value from this. You can have an email reminder and you can have a text message reminder. Email reminders, they can respond to that and then you can like respond back in a conversation. So if somebody cancels as an example, you would see it. But for text messages, if somebody replies to the text message, it goes into the ether and nobody knows about it. And they're like, hey, I canceled the message. I text you guys. We're like, where? And so we've discovered that this is where, is that they're responding to this automated message. So we have updated that message to now the very first thing it says no reply. It's the first thing it says now. And then it gives the message saying, hey, if you have questions, please call this number. But people will still most likely text that message or still reply to that message. So what we have done now is actually flip-flopped it. So we used to have the email go first and then the text message. Now the text message goes first and then the email is behind it, which means that if somebody responds to the text message, says, I'm not interested, but they get the email reminder like, hey, I canceled this. Like, oh, thank you. We did not know. And so again, if you guys are using ZenMaid, that's one flip that you guys can make because people can respond to the email, but they can't respond to the text message, right? Cleaner acquisition. We spent $146 on applicants. We had 68 applicants, 31 phone interviews scheduled, 23 performed, 16 scheduled Zoom interviews, 15 Zoom interviews performed, and 6 hired. So if you guys want to see the volume required in order to like build a team from zero again, if you guys have been following along, like you guys saw us basically like we've only had 2 cleaners have been here longer than 3 months. We have turned up the juice on recruiting. 15 Zoom interviews in a week. Crazy. Hired 6 people. And look at this pipeline. You almost can't fit it on the whole screen. I can't even, yes, I can barely fit it on the whole screen. Look at that. Kind of crazy, right? April didn't make it. And this is why this is important because of this. April didn't make it. Who else didn't make it? Cassia is not going to make it. I think that's it so far. We had 6 people who started today. And you can see that Genevieve put her 3 weeks notice in. So this is exciting. This is a telltale sign that our culture is getting better. Is that we had Genevieve, which by the way, she was a good cleaner. I think she's been with us for 6 or 7 weeks. But she gave us a 3-week notice. No longer people just quitting last minute, last second, saying I'm done today. She's actually moving to a different city, but that's pretty exciting. So that she at least gave us a 3-week notice. So you can see here our cleaners. Look at these hours. Our cleaners worked last week, worked good hours, 30 hours, 39 hours, 31 hours, 39 hours. Like good hours, 31 hours. So our cleaners are getting worked, which is cool to see. Trainees, again, looks like Landon and Catherine, her name is actually Katie. They're gonna make it. They show up to team meeting today. And then we have 6 people who are in training this week. So we're gonna have a fat pipeline here coming in. Average amount of rate's pretty low, 44. Average hours is high. Correction clean, just 1. And then we have 4. We did 4 101. So Sierra, Krista, Alondra, and Cassia. So again, Cassia, not going to make it. So anyway, yeah. So back to what I said in the beginning, like the reason why it's important for like the whole point of today has been the reputation over money. So if you guys have the ability to create money, you're okay with money leaving for now because you know that you can get more money later. And let me just give you a logical thing because that's kind of like, yeah, it is like it's almost like when you go to church, right? So I've been going to church with Kitty and the kids lately, and the very first part of church is about tithing and about giving, which by the way I believe in all those things. It's just like it very much is it's an energy rather than a logic. Like show me the math, show me the ROI that money comes back, right? But let me just give you a little bit of logic when it comes to your reputation and why it's actually important. Because if you choose money or reputation, let's use the example of these 3 individuals who didn't pay us back. Actually, only 2 people really didn't pay us back. So these 2 individuals who didn't pay us back, if they tried to ask Logan or Katie for money, would we ever give them money again? No. If anybody who knew Katie and Logan, like Tristan's on here and Kayla, like if they asked you guys for money, would you guys give them money? Probably not. If you were smart, probably not. Just because their track record shows that they don't pay people back. The reputation precedes them. And so just understand that like people talk more about those things than they do about Trey. It's not going to go around telling everybody how awesome I am for giving his $165,000 back. Low probability, right? But if I didn't give his money back, he'd tell everybody. And so understand that like if you don't give money back, people will tell more on that than they will the other way around. And so that's why like it's just important for you guys that anytime you have an issue with a client, issue with a cleaner, like just make it right. And that's why if you guys look at our Google reviews, again, we have 500 for Mesa. Like you guys won't see anybody who says that we didn't pay them or whatever it is, because we just have we have made everything right. Like all our bad reviews come from cleaners who are disguise themselves under different names. Who says that I can't believe I had to clean my boss's underwear. I just my boss's underwear. And so if you guys just want to have good reputation, just make it right. Always. And it just makes it easier for you to make decisions. So like, hey, like my goal is just make it right with you. What do you need in order for this to be right? It's very freeing because you have the skill to go make more money because you're choosing to make that person happy. Somebody asked me this the other day too. It's like, what if that person is never do business with you again? It doesn't matter. It's not like I'm still gonna make it right because it's not about them, guys. It's about you. It's about your reputation. And the number one person that you need to sell is yourself. Sell yourself. That's the number one person. Just make it right. I'm telling you, it's so freeing. Like, and really, you realize that your reputation is honestly more important. Your relationships are more important than money. Like money, like in my here's what's coming back to that. Like, where do you get money from? Where do you get money from? Where do you get new money from? Katie, where do you get money from?
People, humans.
Humans. And if you have a bad reputation, are people likely to give you new money?
No.
Are you willing to feel confident asking people for money if you don't feel confident in yourself that you're going to make it right with them?
No.
Yeah. Probably the most important one is that one. That's probably the most important one. Your conviction in asking people for money, it goes up when you actually choose reputation over money. When you're willing to actually do whatever it takes. Then your confidence to ask for money is cool because, like, worst case scenario, I'll just give it back to you. But in business, we have this idea that, like, it's our money, and as soon as I get it, it's mine. I deserve it. It's like, bro, 2 seconds ago you didn't have that money, and now all of a sudden you're entitled to it. The story I remember of is at that Tony Robbins event. I remember him telling a story about how he was on one of the first flights with internet, and he was like, "Dude, I got on this flight, and they made the announcement and said, guys, today, you guys are part of this special occasion, yada yada yada. Today we have internet on the plane." And everyone's like, "Yeah, this is crazy. This is so cool." And he's like, "I'm not joking, you guys. Within 10 minutes, the internet is down, not working, and people are pissed. They are so freaking mad that they cannot work." He's like, 10 minutes ago, we were heroes, and 10 minutes ago, they could not believe it. The expectation had already been set. And now they've been disappointed. And I remember hearing that story. I thought it was so good because it's the same like business. It's like, oh yeah, this is my clients are reoccurring. They go away. What the heck? You're supposed to be here forever. Like, expectations change real quick. And if you can be aware of those, then you can game the system because it's going to happen. You're going to have clients who sign up for a claim, and all of a sudden they cancel. And you're like, oh, I lost the money. It's like, bro, that person wasn't even alive. That person wasn't even on your radar 3 days ago. And now you're upset because you're out money. You're out of job. You're out of client. You're out whatever that makes your ego feel good, right? So, and the less that we let money and our ego get in the way, and the more that we can just focus on serving and helping, then we stay focused on the right things. And if you just do the right things for a long period of time, then you become more valuable, and value always follows money, right? And so even with this cleaning business, it's been going down over the last like couple months. It's been slowly going down. You can see this right here. The last 3 days revenue, 66, 65, 63, 71. And if we were to go further than that, you guys would see that it got all the way up to almost $82,000. Like we were literally like $1,000 away from hitting 83K. It was, and how ironic is it? How ironic is it that it hit 82 and then started going backwards? And one of the biggest reasons is that we were actually focusing on money over reputation. We were putting the growth of the business ahead of above our cleaners. We were keeping cleaners on the team who shouldn't be on the team because we need enough cleaners to be able to produce revenue. So they're making our cleaners' jobs harder. And we weren't listening to them because we were so focused on growing the revenue. And so like it's not something that just like you get once and it stays forever. You have to consistently audit your behaviors. And so I think that's the most important thing I want to share is like every single person in here chooses money over reputation or chooses money over something, over your relationships. You choose money over something, and you just need to just be aware of it, because if you're not getting the outcome you're looking for, it's likely because your incentives are not aligned with serving the marketplace. And that's really what it comes down to. And so you can see this though. See how this turned around? It went from 61 to 63. So this is the trend I'm going to be watching. I'm going to be watching that trend and see if we can start to turn this thing around and start to make progress by focusing on these people right here. Right here. How do we just continue to pour into these guys right here on the team? Look at these hours. Like, this is one way. Fill their schedules. Make them freaking work. Give them fat paychecks. Right? And then make sure that the people who are coming in, make sure that they're quality. I'm like, this girl's got to go. Like, she's being a problem already. I'm like, high standards. I'm not dealing with problems. And I can say that with confidence because of this. Don't meet the standard. Fine. I have people who will. And that's how you can have the confidence to keep your team, hold the high standard to your team, is having a fat pipeline. And then when somebody shows you, you acknowledge it, you confront it. And then, like, if they don't behave, if they don't meet the standard, if they don't change their behavior, you let them go. And that's what keeps these people happy, is because you make their jobs easier when you pair them with better people. You make their jobs harder when you pair them with worse people. So appreciate you guys today for showing up and showing out. Again, we got to get on our Mesa Vision meeting next week. Next week, this call is going to be at a different time. It's going to be at 2 hours later because Katie and I are actually going to be traveling next week. So this call will be it's on the calendar. You guys will all see it's on the calendar. But what's that at 12 right now? So it'll be at 2 o'clock Pacific time. So 3 o'clock Mountain time, 4 o'clock Central time, 5 o'clock Eastern time. So that'll be this call next Monday. But thank you guys for showing up today. Hopefully you guys got some value from that story. And yeah, just really focus on reputation over money. And like, there's one thing that will always serve you is having a good reputation. And most importantly, with yourself, because when you are confident in yourself and your willingness to just give the money back, then you're also willing to ask really hard for the money up front. You're willing to ask really hard for the money up front when you're just willing to give it back. Because you just know that you help people more when you have their money, so you can get them to commit and so you can actually perform the service. But if for some reason you can't, you will give the money back. And that's where confidence comes from. So happy Monday, guys. Super appreciate you guys. See you guys later.